Oh, yes, I'm not connected. Wait, I have to, wait. No, it will be okay. I don't need internet. So we are going to, these verses we are going to discuss. It will describe specifically the dynasty of Diti. And all these people are called the Ditya. It's a dynasty of demons. So the famous, or rather infamous, demons we know the best are Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They're actually the first sons of Diti. But we're going to see something very interesting, very amazing in the verses we're going to read. It's in verse 10, 15, 16, and 17. We're going to see that in that dynasty of demons, two great devotees were born. The saintly Prahlad Maharaj and his grandson, Bali Maharaj. So we will try to discuss how even demons, it might be a little difficult to understand, but in the past ages, there were some people we call demons. They were actually challenging and fighting with God. So we can see how even demons or people born in demoniac families or people having demoniac families can become devotees. Okay, so we read the first verse. It's verse 9. So it goes, Tat karma guna vilyani kashyapasya mahatmanha pashad vakshyama hedityam yatava vatataraha tat karma guna viryani kashyapasya mahatmanaha pashad vakshyama hedityam yatava vatataraha tat karma guna viryani kashyapasya mahatmanaha pashad vakshyama hedityam yatava vatataraha. Tat karma guna viryani kashyapasya mahatmanaha pashyad vakshyama hedityam yatadva vatataraha. Tat karma guna viryani kashyapasya mahatmanaha pashyad vakshyama hedityam yatava vatataraha. Tat karma guna vilyani kashyapasya mahatmanaha pashyad vakshyama hedityam yatyava vatalaham. Ladies, tat karma guna viryani kashyapasya mahatmanaha pashyad vakshyama hedityam yatava vatalaham. So synonyms, tat, his, karma, activities, guna, qualities, viryani, and power. Kashyapasya, of the son of Kashyapa, Mahatmanaha, the great soul. Pashkat, later. Vakshyamahe, I shall describe. Adityam, in Aditi. Yata, how? Eva, certainly. Avatara, Avatatara, descended. Ha, indeed. Translation. Later, in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I shall describe how Hulukrama, Lord Vamanadev, appeared as the son of the great sage Kashyapa, and how he covered the 3 worlds with 3 steps. I shall describe the uncommon activities he performed, his qualities, his power, and how he took birth from the womb of Aditi. So now we will read 9 verses, and do not worry if you don't understand the story. Later on, we can talk about it. So verse 10, translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Now, let me describe the sons of Diti who were begotten by Kashyapa, but who became demons. In this demoniac family, the great devotee Prahlad Maharaj appeared. And Bali Maharaj also appeared in that family. The demons are technically known as Daityas because they proceeded from the womb of Diti. 11. First, the 2 sons named Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha took birth from Diti's womb. Both of them were very powerful and were worshipped by the Daitas and Danavas. 12, 13. The wife of Hiranyakashipu was known as Kayadu. She was the daughter of Jamba and a descendant of Danu. She gave birth to 4 consecutive sons known as Somhalada, Anulada, Harada, and Harad. The sister of these 4 sons were known as Simhika. She married the demon named Viprachit and gave birth to another demon named Rahu. 14. While Rahu, in disguise, was drinking nectar amongst the demigods, the Supreme Personalities of Godhead severed his head. The wife of Samlada was named Kriti. By union with Samlada, Kriti gave birth to a son named Panchajana. 15. The wife of Lada was named Damani. She gave birth to 2 sons named Vatapi and Hilvala. When Agastya Muni became Hilvala's guest, Hilvala served him a feast by cooking Vatapi, who was in the shape of a ram. So I keep thinking for our guest newcomer, it's very, very strange. But we can talk later about it with other devotees. 16. The wife of Nahuala was named Surya. She gave birth to 2 sons named Bhakshala and Mahisa. Prahlad had 1 son, Virochana, whose wife gave birth to Bali Maharaj. 17. Thereafter, Bali Maharaj begot 100 sons in the womb of Ashana. Of these 100 sons, King Bana was the eldest. The activities of Bali Maharaj, which are very laudable, will be described later in the 8th canto. 18. Since King Bana was a great worshipper of Lord Shiva, he became one of Lord Shiva's most celebrated associates. Even now, Lord Shiva protects King Bana's capital and always stands by him. And now, verse 19, which we're going to comment upon. I just read once the Sanskrit. Marutasharadite putras shadvarim shan navadikaha tadasan apraja sarve nita inderena satmatam. Synonyms: Maruta, the Maruts. Cha and Dite of Diti, Putraha, sons, Shadvarim Shat, 40, Navahadikaha, plus 9, Te, they, Asan, where, Apradjaha, without sons, Salve, all, Nitaha, were brought, Indrina, by Indra, Sarat, Madame, to the position of demigods. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The 49 Marut demigods were also born from the womb of Diti. None of them had sons. Although they were born of Diti, King Indra gave them a position as demigods. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Apparently, even demons can be elevated to position as demigods when their atheistic character is reformed. There are two kinds of men throughout the universe. Those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu are called demigods, and those who are just the opposite are called demons. Even the demons can be transformed into demigods, as the statement of this verse proves. Namaram Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvise Sashunyavadi Pashatyade Shatarine. So, dear devotees, we won't have much time, so I won't be able to do the whole presentation I was going to, but we're just going to see how demons, as I said before, how demons or people with demoniac mentality can be transformed into pure devotees of the Lord. So we are going to see one lila of Srila Prabhupada. And after, if we have time, but I doubt it, we would speak of Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, Vritasura, but we might not have time. Okay, so do you know a devotee called Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu? A devotee in our movement? Somebody knows, no? Okay. Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu. No? He's a very nice preacher. And he was actually talking about that subject. And he quoted a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, a second canto, 9th chapter, verse 10. It's very interesting. And the verse goes like that. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time, so what to speak of the illusory external energy? It cannot enter this region. Without discrimination, that's when it becomes very interesting, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees. So it says that in Vaikuntha, both demigods and demons worship the Lord. And in the verse, it says Sura and Asura. So one day, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada asked Srila Prabhupada about that commentary. He asked, how can it be possible that demons become devotees of the Lord? Surely we understand demigods who are godly inclined can become pure devotees of the Lord, but how can demons become devotees? So Prabhupada gave a very witty answer. You know, Prabhupada had a grand sense of humor, like our dear Radhanath Swami. So when he heard this question, he asked the devotee, are you counting yourself amongst the demigods? You know, showing that actually, maybe not in India because you were brought up very purely, but in the West, most of us, we were born in family, I wouldn't say demons, but not very pure people. So we actually ourselves were the proof that people who are not pure devotees or very nice, who don't have a very nice upbringing, can become devotee by the mercy of the pure devotee. Most of us, we took birth in sinful family in the West, and we didn't perform very nice spiritual activities, in our youth. But somehow or other, we became in touch, in contact with devotees, and we were touched by the power of the holy name, and that changed our life. So when Srila Prabhupada brought the first American devotees in India, he was very criticized. He called us his white elephants. And you know what elephants can do when they come in a shop of China porcelain? What do they do? What do they do, this white elephant, in a shop of very delicate cups of porcelain? They break everything. So in the beginning, we were breaking everything with Vaishnava etiquettes. For example, the first Western devotees who came to India were very poor. Every day there was dal, rice, chapati, sometimes a little sabji, but not every day. And some devotees were stealing from Lloyd Bazaar. They were stealing fruits, they were stealing sweets. So the people from Lloyd Bazaar came to Srila Prabhupada and asked Prabhupada, why are they doing that? And Prabhupada was the purest devotee, the most Brahminical in the whole universe, had to take the blame for all of us. And he said, oh, they're not fully trained yet. Please forgive them. They are just like monkeys, you know? So how can we become devotees and pure devotees? No matter what was our previous life. Prabhupada gave two different answers. One day he said, when devotee asked, and he said, it's just causeless mercy, pure kripa. We don't have any qualification to become devotees. And Prabhupada was our qualification by his mercy, causeless mercy. And at the time he said, my Guru Maharaj sent you. So it's somewhere in the middle, but we think it's causeless mercy. Yeah. So sometimes we can see in the scriptures, like we read, that in a dynasty of demons, some extraordinary devotees are appearing. And such demons into brackets, they go back to Godhead, as the demigods can go back to Godhead if they worship the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada said that in our age, we don't have such big demons as Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha, or even closer to us in the time of Lord Chaitanya. We saw very big demons like Chagai and Madai. But he said in this age, not so big demons. But there was a case of one person that Prabhupada called a demon, and who lived not very far from here. Do you know his name? Mr. Nair. How do you pronounce Nair? So let us hear Giriraj Swami, and then we will hear Shruta Kirti talking about Mr. Nair. Actually, it was for our new guests, newcomers, a long time ago when Prabhupada was on the planet, there was no Krishna temple of the movement in Bombay, in Mumbai. And Srila Prabhupada decided to get a property to build a temple. In the beginning, there was nothing, and it was very hard. Mosquito, everybody got sick. But now you can see we have beautiful temples in Mumbai. So the owner of the property, not this one, the one who is near Juhu, Juhu, the owner of that property was called Mr. Nair, and he cheated the devotees. He was very wealthy, very influent man, and he kind of bought the police and everything. And he cheated completely the devotees. They put a deposit, but Mr. Nair said it's not proper, you didn't get the right permit, and he didn't want to give back the money. But then Prabhupada had to come. And Prabhupada said, nobody can cheat me because I'm a Calcutta boy. You know? So now Girivaj is explaining what happened with Mr. Nair. So Mr. Nair was a very influential person in Bombay, a very wealthy person. So one day I was walking in Bombay and I saw a newspaper headline in the front page, A.B. Nair dead. You know, he gave so much trouble to the devotees, to Prabhupada. And so Girivaj Maharaj says, in my heart, I felt very jubilant. Actually, I felt like dancing right there on the street. But I wasn't sure it was the proper way for a devotee to respond. You know, should a devotee not rejoice like that? What do you think? What do you think? Huh? Because this is very extreme to be happy when somebody is dead. So what did he say?
The people from the outside world will take in a wronger view. They don't know what is our internally the devotees are feeling.
Yes, yes. So he was, Maharaj wasn't sure. So meanwhile, a senior devotee who was visiting Bombay called. And he found Srila Prabhupada in New Zealand. And he gave Prabhupada's servant that Mr. Nair suddenly died. We didn't know anything about what Srila Prabhupada's reaction was. A few days later, we got a letter from Srila Prabhupada from New Zealand, in which he wrote, we receive a telephonic message from Bombay, from which it is understood that the demon Nair is dead. And he said, if this information is true, it's a great occasion for jubilation. I think that's the only time Srila Prabhupada said that of someone, you know. Srila Prabhupada quoted Prahlad Maharaj that even a saintly person takes pleasure when a snake or a scorpion is killed. So he said, it's a very good news that Lord Nishringadev has killed the demon. Girivaj Maharaj carries on. Later, I met Srila Prabhupada's servant, who was in Auckland, who delivered the message to Srila Prabhupada. And when he gave Srila Prabhupada the news, Srila Prabhupada folded his hands in a mood of prayer and he said, thank you, Krishna. And then he said that Nair was causing too much trouble for the devotees, creating too many difficulties. So I prayed to Krishna. So he thanked Krishna for killing the demon. But Srila Prabhupada's servant, who was at the time, Shrutakirti Prabhu, who is here with us at the moment, he asked Prabhupada, well, if he was killed by Krishna, does that mean that he was liberated? Then Srila Prabhupada said no. He's not that big of a demon. Yeah, because in Krishna's pastime, when Krishna killed the demons, they were liberated. As Gregory said before, it's a many kind of liberation. So it was a kind of, they got liberated. Prabhupada said it's not that big of a demon. But later the devotee asked Prabhupada what happened to Mr. Nair. Did he take birth as a snake or a scorpion? And Srila Prabhupada says no. He would have taken birth as a human being, because even though he was a demon and tried to cheat Srila Prabhupada and the devotees and harass the devotees, at the end, the land was offered to the devotees. And Krishna would see the positive side. So when our life is finished, of course, some of us have done very bad things, but becoming devotees, a lot of good things were done by the mercy of the spiritual master. And Krishna sees the good side. Prabhupada goes on explaining that Putana was a demon and she came to kill Krishna. And Krishna, he saw the positive side, that she came as a mother. So she put poison on her breast, and Krishna drank the milk, and he accepted her as a mother. So she was liberated, although she wanted to kill Krishna. So now Shrutakirti himself is talking. He says, when I was Srila Prabhupada's servant, I didn't know much about what was going on in the society, because he was always with Srila Prabhupada. He told us even one time, somebody told him, Prabhupada is resting, come to Mangal Artik. And you know the story? Come to Mangal Artik. And Shrutakirti went to Mangal Artik. And then very soon, there was somebody tapping on the shoulder. Srila Prabhupada wants to see you. And Prabhupada was very, very unhappy with him. Why did you leave? Maybe I needed you. So it was also very hard, very blissful, but very hard to be Srila Prabhupada's servant. You couldn't go out. You couldn't talk much with the devotees. You had to stay always ready to be on call. So he was not interested in hearing so many things that happen in the movement. But I saw that Srila Prabhupada was determined to develop the land of Juhu. So Shrutakirti was massaging Srila Prabhupada in New Zealand. And he said the reason that so many of my remembrance were taking place when I was massaging Srila Prabhupada. It's because if I wasn't massaging him, most of the time I wasn't with him. So then he was giving a massage. And at this time, they received a call from Bombay to inform them that Mr. Nair has died. Mr. Nair was a demon that had put our beloved Srila Prabhupada through much anxiety, and now he was dead. I told Srila Prabhupada, and then I went behind him and starting massaging him. Srila Prabhupada put up his hand and said, "Thank you, Krishna." In my foolishness, I thought, that's not a nice reaction when somebody has died. You know, because when somebody has died, the family, the friends, they give a talk. And when you hear these talks, it seems that person was the best person in the world, you know. Even if he did many horrible things, when he died, he became a saint. So Shruta was thinking like that. Prabhupada said, he was such a demon. He created so many difficulties for me. When Srila Prabhupada thought about experience, it was like he relived, he was living them again. It seemed as if everything was happening as he thought about it. Prabhupada said, again, the same thing. Prahlad Maharaj says it's good when a snake or scorpion is killed. And Mr. Nair was a great snake. The last time I saw him, Giriraj saw that he had some difficulty in his body. Although he was a robust, energetic man, but this time Shuttagirti thought he was going to die. So when Prabhupada was in Bombay, he would speak to Mr. Nair cordially, calmly and casually, but he was happy to see him die. As the great kshatriya or warriors would battle in the day, and they would speak nicely together in the evening, like on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The warriors all day were fighting, killing each other, but at night they will be speaking like friends. You know, it's not happening today in the war. So that's how Prabhupada battled, like a kshatriya. So he talked, and I said, Srila Prabhupada, you said Nair was a great demon. Does that mean that Krishna killed him? He said, no, he was not that great of a demon. It was difficult for me because so many of my disciples didn't understand. They thought, why is our spiritual master so attached to that piece of property? In truth, we could have bought property anywhere. We didn't need that piece of property. But as soon as we bought the property and built the temple, as soon as Krishna was there, I couldn't allow him to be removed. I didn't need anything for myself. So at that moment, everything became clear for Shruta Kirti. The battle over that property went on for years. Devotees would come from the West to battle for the Jew property. And before long, they were leaking their runes. It was so hard. They were devastated and they wanted to leave India. Just being in India for the Western devotee in the early 70s was actually very, very difficult. And dealing with the problem in Bombay was almost impossible. So that was about Mr. Nair. So how did Prahlad, who was born in a demon family, become one of Lord Vishnu's greatest devotees? Anybody would like to give an answer? How did he become the greatest devotee? Yes.
By the causeless mercy of Narad Muni, Prahlad Maharaj had become very nice.
Yeah, by the mercy of the spiritual master. Do you know about Prahlad Maharaj? Greg and Diana? No, you will learn. You can ask Sridhar. Huh? Okay. So Prahlad Maharaj, he was a 5-year-old wonderful boy, the son of the greatest demon Hiranyakashipu. And they were in the classroom. The teachers were teaching them how to become great demons. But Prahlad Maharaj had heard from a great sage, Narada Muni, while he was in the room of his mother. So he wanted also all his classmates to become devotees. And the classmates in the Gurukul, in the school, they asked Prahlad Maharaj the same question. how did you are born in the family of demon, the greatest demon. How did you become a devotee of Lord Vishnu? So he told them about Lord Vishnu, and he said, actually, when my father went to do a lot of penances to get boons for Lord Brahma, at that time, Indra had kidnapped my mother. And Indra wanted to kill me in the room. But Narada Muni saved us, and he took us to his ashram. So the mother was pregnant, and the child Prahlad was in the room. And Narada Muni started to talk about Lord Krishna, his adventures, his lila, his qualities. The mother fell asleep, but Prahlad Maharaj heard everything. So he listened with great interest. Narada Muni became his teacher, his spiritual master. Any devotee must have a guru, actually, to show the path to go back to Lord Vishnu. So Prahlad says, Sage Narada is my guru, and it's because of his mercy that I became a devotee of Vishnu. So here we can see one way a demon can become a devotee is to listen very sincerely to devotees, to pure devotees. And how the friends of Prahlad, the schoolmates, became devotees, also by the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj. And there is a nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's 7 canto, 5 chapter, verse 56, 57. So it says, my dear King Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir has asked the same question. So Shukadev Goswami says, all the children were very much affectionate and respectful to Prahlad Maharaj. And because of their tender age, they were not so polluted by the instruction and action of their demoniac teachers, who were attached to duality and bodily comfort. Thus, the boys surrendered Prahlad. They gave up playing, and they sat down to hear him, again, to hear. Their heart and eyes fixed on Prahlad Maharaj, they look at him with great earnestness. So again, the same question, how did you become a devotee? So just by being very affectionate to Prahlad, to listen to him, to be very sincere, they also became devotee. So let's see, we have 10 minutes. What would you like, dear devotees? Should I carry on with Bali Maharaj, or anybody would like to ask any question? What do you prefer? Srila Prabhupada pastime. So we leave the demon and devotee. Yeah? Yeah? Which pastime? So many. With me. Krishna, Krishna. Which one? Okay, I will tell you. Should I tell you the first time I met Srila Prabhupada? I'll try to do that. Okay, so I was 19 years at the time, and I had two friends, school friends. We were looking, ladies, we were looking for spiritual life. I will make it very short because we have not even 10 minutes. So we came to the point, after many adventures, we wanted to know the absolute truth. We wanted to know what was the goal of the human form of life. What was life for? Where we came from? What was going to happen after death? So we came to the conclusion we have to find a spiritual master. So we didn't know where to find him. We were studying in a university, ethnology. That is actually the way the ancient tribes of the world are living. What is their conception of the creation of the world, of God? So we didn't know, are we going to find a spiritual master amongst the Eskimo tribe, or African tribe, or old China? Or we had actually a teacher. He was impersonal teacher. He was teaching Vedanta. He was a sannyasi. And he was telling us in personal philosophy, shall we go to India? So Krishna made the perfect arrangement. Some devotees Prabhupada sent to Paris. And we had to do a little student job to get our tickets to India. And one devotee, they were very poor, was doing the same student job. And he saw us reading our impersonal books. And he said, are you interested in spiritual life? So I told him, oh, we are living for spiritual life. Then he said, you know, I have a spiritual master, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And we told, we're looking for spiritual master, but not a cheater. And he told us about Bhagavatam, about japa, meditation. And after that, we associated with the devotees. And one of them told us, why don't you go to London? Our spiritual master is actually going to open a temple in London. So we said, yes. We were very, only so young, 19, but so proud. We said, we'll go to London to test S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami to see if he's a real spiritual master. And we came to London, so to make this event short, at one point, the devotee ladies, they put sari on us, they put our hair properly, and we came to the temple. It was a wonderful atmosphere. Prabhupada had just installed the beautiful Shishivada Londonishvara. And a very melodious kirtan was going on. The atmosphere was very mystical. The smoke of incense. The temple was narrow and a little long, but not very big, you know, from here to the end where the Prabhus are sitting and standing, maybe a tiny bit more. There were some wooden beams of red oak trees that Shyamasundar Prabhu, who was actually constructing the temple room, had got from California. So it was like an ark, you know. Shyamasundar wanted the temple to look like a Buddhist cave. It looked very, very mystical. The kirtan was extraordinary. Yamuna was singing, Mukunda was on the drum. And all of a sudden, all the devotees fell flat on the floor. So we didn't know what was happening. We never did that before, but we were very polite, so we did the same. But Srila Prabhupada says, ladies, you know, from the material point of view, they have one defect. They are very curious, but it can be a quality also. So I felt very curious. So I put my head up a little and I saw two beautiful golden feet passing by. I became even more curious. So I put my head and it was actually Srila Prabhupada. And in this life, I saw him for the first time. I had two contradictory impressions. The first one was, he looks like the emperor of the world. You know, you saw he was not very tall, but he was so straight, his head like that, you know, very aristocratic. And the other impression was, he's the most humble sage in the universe. So it was very, very strong impression. Then he sat on the Vyasa-san and very slowly started kirtan, very meditative. Then the speed picked up, and then again very melodious, very slow. Then he gave a short lecture. And during that lecture, some very mystical things happened. And other Prabhupada disciples will tell you the same. He answered all our existential questions we had. We didn't ask the questions, but he answered them. Then we were maybe 10 or no more than 15 in the room. So Prabhupada caught our glance. And when actually I looked in his eyes, I didn't know what was happening, but I felt some tears coming. And I was wondering why. I'm not overjoyed, you know, or I'm not stricken by grief. Why am I crying like that? But I realized that in his eyes, there was so much compassion, so much love, that he was a person you could trust, that he had no personal motivation. He just wanted to give. He wanted actually people to stop suffering in this world, and he had the solution. So that was the first meeting with Srila Prabhupada, very, very meaningful meeting. And from that time on, he stayed 7 days in London Temple before flying probably to America. And it took me 7 days to understand he was my real eternal spiritual master, because I was polluted by impersonal philosophy. But Prabhupada was playing with us. He really kidnapped us with so many, relationship talks, very funny things with him, and he just kidnapped us. And at the end, when I realized that at the airport, devotees sent me pictures, Prabhupada at this airport in London in 77. And that from within, I understood he was my eternal spiritual master. And I wrote to my Vedanta impersonal teacher. It was a little mischievous. I told him, dear teacher, I'm very glad to tell you that we won't be coming to your classes anymore because we are starting the path of bhakti yoga, personal devotion to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I sent him. And but 2 years after, when with my friend Jyotirmayi Devidasi, we came to Paris, and Prabhupada came. We invited that Mayavadi teacher to meet Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was so kind to him. Prabhupada was very respectful. The teacher got a lot of mercy, as we did. So, dear devotee, devotees, I don't want to go. I'm 2 minutes late already. So I thank you so much for your association. And again, I apologize to our guest because it was difficult topic with so many names, but I will tell Sridhar to explain to you. Thank you for your association. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Radhanath Swami, my obeisances, Salibor.